Hello and good morning, everyone. This is Samsonet's Raw Daily. Today is Wednesday, and we're going to talk about a thing I was thinking about since yesterday. So, yesterday I had an interaction on LinkedIn where somebody was basically saying, don't do this and don't do that. It's not working. And I know I have done this as well for one specific case, basically, in the past, where it was about sponsored display VCPN campaigns, but I hope I explained why I think you should not use them. Not that they are not working, they are tricky to understand. That's basically reasons. And why I'm talking with you about this today is because I'm thinking about what is working and what is not working, and is there a general truth to what is working when it comes to advertising or Amazon advertising, especially a lot. And I'm now doing performance marketing since 10 years, and I feel the longer I do it, the less I'm certain or have faith that there's one rule which works for all and everyone and everywhere. And I feel like it's always depending on the product, it's depending on the seasonality, it's depending on so many different factors if something is working or not, that you can't just say this is how it's working for everything. And that makes it tricky when giving recommendation and talking about best practices or so on and so forth. And the main thing I would always recommend to people is to test out things themselves, to, I don't know, take a best practice from someone and then see how you can implement this best practice to your own structure, with your own product and your own setup, and see if it also produces the same results. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I cannot emphasize enough that I do see lots of advertisers being purely focused on, or not advertisers, but like, I have the feeling that, for example, agencies, they're looking too much only into the advertising world and their advertising numbers, and they're missing the big picture. They're missing eventually. I'm not saying that they all miss that. I'm just saying from how I perceive the messages on LinkedIn, for example, that they judge if some advertising tactics or strategies are good or bad. They judge it by only advertising metrics. And in my personal opinion, this is the wrong way to approach it, as especially on Amazon, advertising is a key factor and a key role, but it's always necessary to look at the broader and the whole picture and how all the different pieces are tying together. And what I would like to recommend to you guys who are listening to this podcast and watching me on YouTube eventually, would like to say is, whatever you read online or somewhere, whenever you read a best practice, think about how can you implement that to your structure, test it. Don't only look at the advertising metrics. So just not only look at ACOS and spend and advertising sales, but also look at, did something I did influence my top line, my total revenue, and my total profitability, and my unit velocity, and how is my bestseller rank and my organic ranks changing from what I'm doing? And this is very hard to analyze, and this is also very hard to implement, as it requires also a structured process on how you approach these things. So you cannot just like activate something and then a couple of days later you eventually already know or don't know if it works. So you have to, think about it. You have to do proper testing in the best scenario. And this is not that easy, and it's not simple. And when I see people talking about, for example, results of a certain campaign type, so so the post was about sponsored display videos, and the person said like, oh, they're too expensive, the CPCs are super high, and I would not recommend you to do that, only if you want some additional reach. And when I hear CPCs are too high, that lets all my alarm clocks, whatever. I'm very much alarmed when I hear this, because there is usually something like a super high CPC if you don't at least say as well, hey, we couldn't go lower with these CPCs because if we would put the bid lower, then we didn't got any impression. Then eventually the sentence, the CPCs are too high, doesn't make sense. But if there's no context to high CPCs, I could argue, or I could at least think, hey, maybe you put your bids too high, and that's why you had too high CPCs. And CPCs are not a static thing. It's an output which happens every day. So how did that trended over the time period of your test and your implementation? For example, did it went up? Did it went down? There's lots of more information needed in order to actually talk about a CPC than just like a high or low CPC. And what I was seeing in particular is with sponsored display video campaigns, we had some very good results from a reach and a volume perspective, or maybe not from reach perspective, but from a volume perspective in terms of orders and units and sales. They were not as promising as I thought in the beginning, but we also implemented them mostly on retargeting audiences. But anyhow, I feel like that to a certain degree, you have to test it yourself, to have to see. Don't only test it on one product. If you have multiple different product groups, test it in multiple different product groups. If you are multiple different countries, test it in multiple different countries, because every variable will make the campaign results look different. Different countries, different bids, different targetings, different products. All of that will essentially have an impact on your total campaign performance and the total performance coming from that additional advertising visibility. And to say something is not working at all and people should not do it is very short-fetched. And I would always challenge those people that there's most likely a way how you can make it work. And there's probably somebody out there somewhere who has made sponsored display video campaigns already run for them very, very efficiently and scaled this campaign type. As I said, for us, it worked better than it's expected. And I'm not seeing the same drawbacks as other people. So test, and learn. Don't follow too much opinions from other people. Also not my opinion. To be very honest with you, don't just do what I say, or don't just have the same opinion like I am. Think critically, hear what different people say, and then come to your own judgment and your own opinions out of that. And with this, have a wonderful Wednesday. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.